Made it to Creeping Death. Been wanting to show this one off for a long time. Stick around, it's going to be good. Written by James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Cliff Burton, and Kirk Hammett. Creeping Death is the 7th song off Ride the Lightning, and if you've ever seen them play a live show, you've probably heard it. Creeping Death was also the only single from Ride the Lightning. It was released just after the album was recorded and treated as an EP by fans, and also in true Metallica fashion was released with B-sides not from the album, but 2 unknown covers, Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg, referred to on the album cover as Garage Days Revisited. So just like For Whom the Bell Tolls, if you ever go looking for the isolated master tracks of Creeping Death, they're in the key of D. And we see that green album cover for Ride the Lightning again. It's been my experience on YouTube that whenever you see that green album cover, you're going to find stuff that's recorded in the key of D, and when it's the blue album cover, it's in standard tuning. But on Ride the Lightning, when they recorded those 2 songs, they were recorded at that slower speed and then later sped up to sound as tight as possible. Now, I understand why you take a fast song like Creeping Death and slow it down to record it as precise as possible and then speed it back up so it sounds fierce. But For Whom the Bell Tolls was a pretty slow song. I can't imagine why they needed to slow that down. But it was the first song they recorded for Ride the Lightning, so who knows? Regardless, the isolated master tracks for Creeping Death are in the key of D. So whenever you see a loud bass version of Creeping Death, it's always going to be in the key of D. The 2016 reissued remaster of Ride the Lightning has Creeping Death in standard tuning. So to combat this, I used my Tascam 4-track and recorded the isolated bass track onto a new cassette, and then I played it back and used the pitch wheel to speed it up until it was in the key of E. And problem solved. Creeping Death with bass in standard tuning. So after I got the song into the key of E, then began the very difficult task of getting it to line up with the remasters. YouTube compression through the years has caused these isolated tracks to warp, and they don't go up or down in pitch, but they do speed up and slow down in time. So rhythmically, they're kind of a nightmare. Some of them aren't bad. Creeping Death was one of the worst. I think Ride the Lightning was the actual worst. But what I do is, when the bass goes out of time with the song, I split the track right there, and I either expand or collapse it, and then move the piece so that it lines up with the song, and I do it over and over again until the song is done. And it's very time consuming. So timeline, 2019, Justice for All comes out as a reissued remaster and has no repaired mix with Jason's bass parts. Pisses me off. Starts me on this track to work on all the Justice songs and make my own version of it with bass. Along the way, I realized I wanted to do all the Cliff songs too, and that was 2020. All my free time spent splitting the bass tracks from Cliff and Jason into a million pieces to get them to fit into the songs. 2021, I began Season 1 for Kill 'Em All, and started Season 2, and now here we are at the beginning of 2022, and Season 2 is almost done. So this is the automation lane I have for Creeping Death. It only brings out the high stuff. I swear he recorded this album with new bass strings. New bass strings, the legend goes, all the low stuff comes out like a bell, all the high stuff disappears into the guitar. All of his octaves up against 2 James Hetfield rhythm guitars, pan, hard left and right, full volume, full distortion, got eaten alive. But you might recognize this one. So he's got all that loud volume on the low stuff, but on the high stuff he just disappears. So he does a lot of slides on this song. I automated all of his slides, and then in this section right here, all the times he goes high, I automated it just to bring it out because you cannot hear it if you don't. So this is the remaster. This is what everybody got when they issued their remaster in 2016. Alright, and I'm going to add the enhanced bass track up here and the Cliff part at the same time. And this is the re-remastered version. Alright, and let's check what this is. That's me bringing the volume down. This section right here was Cliff kind of going off, and I raised it a little bit. But that's pretty much the whole lane. So if you listen to Kill 'Em All, Cliff's volume in the mix was pretty good. When you listen to Ride the Lightning and Master Puppets, not so much. And there's any number of reasons why that could have happened. But James's rhythm playing is so precise that you could literally cut one verse and paste it into another verse. There's no improvisation whatsoever. And Cliff almost never plays it the same way twice throughout the whole song. So there could have been that. There could have been the fact that Cliff liked to come with a buzz to record. There could have been, any number of reasons why he got turned down or why he wasn't as loud as he was on Kill 'Em All. There's 4 chugs in the main riff of Creeping Death, and Cliff plays 3 chugs. Check it out. And this is, of course, the song. No question, Cliff's playing 3 chugs, James is playing 4. This next section I want to show you occurs 3 times in the song. This is the first one. Basically, the rhythm guitars do like a long whole note E5 chord together, and the drums just play a basic 4 on the floor beat. Cliff does this little bass groove in the background. On the album, you can't hear it. I mean, you can, but barely, and it's annoying because it's the only thing happening in the song. I know there's bass there, but this is what it sounds like re-remastered by Echo Bass. Alright. So in the bridge after the guitar solo, Cliff plays something that I think is amazing. The way that he does it. His phrasing's excellent. So James Hetfield obviously records the rhythm guitars on the albums in the early days, left and right, and Kirk Hammett wrote this riff. James plays it with machine-like precision, and Cliff just does stunts around it. Makes full use of the fretboard, and plays an incredible bass part. You can't hear it on the album, but I want to play it for you. I have the remaster and the enhanced set at -18. Let's let her rip. Awesome. So this section right here, I think was a mistake that ended up being left on the recording because of the intensity of the take. I think it was convincing enough, but usually you make a change on 1 and you don't make it on 3. And you certainly don't make it on 4. In this case, this is the riff at the end of the song. So Cliff plays D-C-B-A and then C-B-A-B, but he doesn't do the C-B-A-B until the 4th time. I think he meant to do C-B-A-B on the 2nd time through, which would have made the change happen on 1 and not 3 or 4 if you're listening. Check it out. I'm going to solo it. So I think it was left on the album because he's still playing really well. He didn't play the phrasing the right way. Looking at this brings back memories. The end of the song was brutal. Getting all these pieces to line up with the remaster was really hard. But let's listen to it for a second. Look at this section right here in particular. All 5 open E's had to be split there, or it didn't line up with the recording. And then I gotta play the end of the song. It's awesome. And the last 3 notes going into the ending also had to be split as well. Check it out. And what's so cool about that, let me back that up real quick, is when you play it with the remaster, the bass, the way it lined up, it sounds like, and he probably did, He plays the octave of E on that 7th fret of A and then plays the open E, and it just rocks how he ends the song. Check this out. So good. I almost gave this to Ride the Lightning when I was doing episode 2. It's my opinion that the two best bass tracks on Ride the Lightning are the song Ride the Lightning and Creeping Death. Ride the Lightning was a lot more ambitious and complex, and it had a lot more intricacies, but Creeping Death, he played with conviction and command and had the entire track down from start to finish, and for that reason I gotta give bass track of the album for Ride the Lightning to Creeping Death. Similarities persist. Just realized Creeping Death and Ride the Lightning are both 6-minute and 36-second songs, and all told, across that time, Creeping Death had 149 splits, which equates to one split every 2.65 seconds, whereas Ride the Lightning had 294 splits, which equates to one split every 1.35 seconds. So Ride the Lightning was harder. Ride the Lightning was... And now, our moment of guitar architecture. Creeping Death is your extraordinary Metallica song, and that everything that can happen in a Metallica song does, amplified to level 10. At the end of the song, after the third chorus, there is a harmony solo, which I believe is James on harmony left and Kirk on harmony right, and a third guitar in the middle, center channel mono, Kirk lead guitar. But this song, it's many people's favorite Metallica song. It's not mine, but it's an awesome song. And now it's time once again for the in-album Lifeline segment, brought to you as always by Fresh Produce. No, not the brand, the concept. Eat your fruits and veggies. In this segment, I always ask the question, would I trade? There are 6 songs on Ride the Lightning that have isolated bass tracks. The 2 that don't are Escape and The Call of Cthulhu. With regards to Cliff Burton's bass track on Creeping Death, would I trade it in to get one for Escape, the song they wrote at the last minute for the album? No, I wouldn't. Would I trade it in for The Call of Cthulhu, which has that infamous bass solo that's mixed too quietly? No, I wouldn't. So the verdict is no, I would not trade in Creeping Death's bass line to get one for Escape or The Call of Cthulhu. Now I will just sing. Creeping Death is done, and the Re-Remastered song is coming out alongside this episode. That means The Call of Cthulhu is next. I've got something really special planned. I can't wait to show it to you. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. This is the Metallica Re-Remastered series. Stay tuned for more. Written by James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Cliff Burton, and Kirk Hammett.